Today I'll be showing you the steps to master Ninja and push its furthest potential. First I'll go over each ability in the spellbook to count our tools, followed by combo sequences from max value to variation. We have quite a lot to talk about for this one, so without further ado, let's get started. Aeolian Edge combo is your 1 spam, dealing 3, 4, and 5k damage at melee range. The third attack is the only thing to keep track of for Ninja, having one of the highest based weapons go potencies for Bunshin. More on that later for combos. Fuma Shuriken deals 6k potency from up to 25 yards on a 10-second cooldown with 3 charges. This will be our bread and butter weapon skill for consistent damage outside of ninjutsu, and your second priority for spending Bunshin charges behind Assassinate. Mug is your team go on a 20-second cooldown, dealing 2k potency and increasing the target's damage taken by 10% for 10 seconds. This ability also reduces the cooldown of Fuma Shuriken by 10 seconds, so remember to always use a Fuma before Mug, don't keep 3 stacks. Shukuchi can be an engage, disengage, or setup, teleporting up to 20 yards and granting invisibility for 5 seconds, allowing the use of the weapon skill Assassinate from your transformed 1 combo, dealing 12k potency at melee range. This strike is your highest potency option for Bunshin charges, dealing 6k additional damage even while halved. Let's talk about Bunshin. Bunshin grants an 8k potency shield for 10 seconds and a buff for 30 seconds that causes your next 5 weapon skills to strike a second time for full potency, while Fuma Shuriken and Assassinate's damage are halved for the copied strike. This ability is your second personal go cooldown. As Ninja has limited OGCD options, Bunshin will fill that role and act as your OGs between weapon skills for burst damage when trying to make kill pressure. The value priority for these charges are as follows: Assassinate for 6k totals 18, Aeolian Edge for 5k totals 10, and Fuma Shuriken for 3k totaling 9. Raiju only deals 4k per weapon skill and charge for a total of 8, and Aeolian requires pre-setup that may not last in longer combos, so usually Assassinate and Fuma take your charges here if not using Raiju for CC. Remember that this ability has a duration matching its cooldown, so use it as soon as possible to get it rolling. You can hold charges for however long is necessary. Additionally, the shield effect can be a great defensive option as this ability comes back mid-fight. Now for the entire other half of Ninja. 3 Mudra enables you to cast ninjutsu, being an OGCD with 2 charges on a 15-second cooldown. This is your setup and can be weaved for many combo and utility options. I'll go over each ninjutsu, explaining their many effects while giving use options and tips. Forked Raiju is transformed from Aeolian combo, dashing up to 20 yards and dealing 4k damage with a 2-second stun and transforming into Fleeting Raiju for 10 seconds, a copy of the first ability. Note that you can hold the second charge as long as needed, opening up more Mudra options like Hyosho Ranryu before your second stun. Hyosho Ranryu comes from Fuma Shuriken, dealing 16k damage from up to 25 yards away. This is going to typically be your main damage burst for securing KOs aside from Assassinate. Goka Mekkyaku is flipped from Mug, dealing 4k damage in a 5-yard radius from up to 25 yards away to all targets and dealing another 4k potency every 4 seconds for 12 seconds, totaling 16k. This is one of your biggest value options, not only crushing AoE situations, but the damage being heavily dot loaded gives it kill pressure behind guard, even more so on multiple targets. Meisui activates from Mudra, healing instantly for 8k potency and another 4k every 3 seconds for 15 seconds for a total of 20k extra healing over time. This is incredibly useful for extending your mana bar and engages, allowing you to rotate through multiple sequences without backing out for elixir. The cast when paired with an OGCD recuperate can provide decent burst healing, but think of this more as recovery than response. Huton, on the other hand, is a very powerful response to damage, granting a 16k shield for 10 seconds and increasing movement speed to a sprint for as long as the shield holds. This can cover you as a GCD while spamming recuperates to stay alive, giving you the opportunity to quickly disengage. It can also be used preemptively for an engage, perhaps granting valuable movement speed to an offensive Shukuchi. And last but certainly not least, Doton is actually your strongest single cooldown, dropping a zone in a 5-yard radius that strikes enemies inside for 2k, up to 4 times over the 10-second duration. Doton also has a misrepresented additional effect called Hollow Nozuchi, striking enemies an additional time for another 2k damage and applying a 75% slow for 3 seconds each time you use a weapon skill, Hyosho or Goka for the 10 seconds. You can fit 5 weapon skills within the duration for a total of 18k damage per single target within Doton over its 10-second duration. Assassinate's 12k paired with Bunshin's half strike of 6 can also deal 18k and instantly, but for 2 buttons. With that all done, we just have our LB left, Seiton Tenchu. This ability dashes up to 20 yards to a target, dealing 10k damage and instantly killing targets below 50% health even through guard. If the target dies either instantly or within 5 seconds as noted by a debuff, their death triggers the use of this ability again for 10 seconds. This enables Ninja to not only team sweep, but stagger lock indefinitely if the enemy team does not fall back entirely. One of the reasons Ninja is so dangerous and rewarding if played well. Now we can at last get into the combo sequences. With Ninja having so many options in their toolkit, it should be no surprise that they have more combo and opening choices as well. The first is an engage with Shukuchi and setting up damage value with Mug, Goka, and Hyosho. You'll use this often behind your team when the enemy is already going to be CC'd for a burst. The next is very similar, just replacing the Hyosho at the end for a stun. This can be swapped in easily in the moment when you realize you need extra CC and not damage. This third combo opens with a Raiju stun instead, leaving Goka out entirely to favor a shorter fight while lining up Hyosho and Assassinate for a strong burst, risky and typically for 1v1s. And finally, the max damage combo assumes rolling GCDs and so primes Aeolian Edge before prepping Bunshin. We use Doton just before Mug, and slip Aeolian before the next Mudra, dropping Goka to tick, while we Assassinate and Fuma until Mudra comes back for Hyosho. Now I will say that especially for Ninja, sequences are well and good, but your strongest suit is when you can adapt to situations and use your many tools to their fullest. For example, successful sweeping or staggered LBs sometimes come down to just chaining Huton, Seiton, and recoups while ducking behind walls, having your Doton on the conflict while you send Fumas around corners and just try to survive, trusting your team to make the damage for your next LB. Again, Doton ticks 4 times over its 10-second duration for 2k each, totaling 8k. If you land 5 weapon skills within that 10 seconds, Hollow Nozuchi deals another 2k damage each time for a grand total of 18k damage from one button. And of course, this is per single target, not accounting any other number of targets within the zone. You can further pressure a single target safely from a distance or around corners with Fuma, very powerful in team fights. Another reminder is to use Bunshin from gate opening. It lasts 30 seconds and you can hold your charges as long as needed. Just getting this on cooldown is good value. You can also use your first Mudra shortly after to start its 15-second cooldown, giving you 10 seconds to decide on an opening ninjutsu just before the engage. The cooldown coming back and giving a third ninjutsu in the middle or end of the fight. I personally have always used a macro for Shukuchi, allowing it to auto-select the ground beneath my current target if I have one, or engaging the orange prompt if no target. Recently though, I've started using a second additional macro that simply uses Shukuchi on me, allowing for quicker and smoother escapes and setups, so I recommend trying these out as well. But that's all I have right now. Ninja is in my opinion one of, if not the best jobs in the meta currently, and can be incredibly difficult to stop from putting its value out in a match, a lethal threat up to the last moments. Thank you for watching this far. If you enjoyed the video, then dropping a like really goes a long ways, and let me know what job you'd like to see next in the comments. I do keep a tally. I really appreciate all the support and feedback. You guys have been incredible.
Huton, Goka Mekkyaku! 術の範囲が広いぞ！